Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports.
Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports with Tyler Drake and Lauren Koval.
What's going on, Bird Gang? Welcome back to another edition of Cardinals Corner preview style before the Cardinals take on the San Francisco 49ers. And no, neither of us are in the studio. Got a lot of stuff going on this week, but we had to make sure we still got a pod in. So, Lauren, how you doing? Looks comfy over there.
It is comfy over here. It's one of the podcasts, you can't see it, but I am able to wear sweatpants during this podcast. So that's a win.
And you have giant doors, apparently.
Apparently, they look much larger on camera than they are in real life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're doing okay, because when you look at the Cardinals injury report, there's a lot of unknowns and a lot of names just all together thrown on there. So where would you like to start? From the very surprising but now relieving side of things, or to the laundry list of dudes that still haven't practiced this week?
I think it's confident to say that I am healthier than half of the Arizona Cardinals football team at this rate. Let's start with the heart attack that was not today.
Yeah, so going out to practice, honestly, I just pulled out the injury report and said, let's just start there, because there is a laundry list to go through. I got through the injury report, but then I was looking over at the pass rushers, and I noticed that a certain very large number 10 was not on the field. Josh Sweat wasn't practicing today during the open portion, and that sent a lot of eyebrows, a lot of alarm bells going off. Literally saw him in the locker room after the fact. He looked just fine, but obviously can't really tell much there. But turns out just rest, not injury related, in IR. That's the best thing you could see in an injury report. So sounds like they just wanted to give him a day off. He'll be back in there tomorrow. Huge sigh of relief there, because you're already going to be down Mack Wilson Sr. And I mean, let's just go through it. Baron Browning, another DMP with the concussion. You've got Bilal Nichols, who was back practicing full, but he had missed with a personal reason. We just talked about Josh Sweat. Rabbit missed with an ankle again, second day in a row. So, and then you've got Will Johnson as well with the back and hip, missing another day. Going into Friday does not look good for those guys. Obviously, I just said Mack Wilson. He's already ruled out with the rib issue. But now you've got Will Johnson potentially missing another day or another game. Rabbit as well. Key players in the secondary. So it's adding insult to injury, and injuries, I should say.
Yeah, and what really stands out about that injury report to me is that Will Johnson, we knew, was out last week and still looks like he's going to remain out this week. And it brings me back to when they drafted him, because he was out for those few weeks with a groin injury. This is not a groin injury. It's a new injury for Will Johnson. Mm-hmm. And that's something that he dealt with when he was at Michigan. And it was, he will be one of the best guys for the Arizona Cardinals if he can stay on the field. And up until a few weeks ago, that had been fine. He'd missed a few weeks. We'd moved off of it. His performance on the field was worth it. Now I'm getting a little bit more worried, because he's also not moving into the limited department. There's been no upgrades for him there in a room that's already been so devastated by injury. And we haven't even gotten to Max Melton yet, who was around in the concussion protocol jersey today. So that's a sign that he's moving through the steps, but we still don't know if he's going to be ready to go Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. And with Will, it's both back and hip. So there's just not one thing, it's two things now. But yeah, Max Melton at non-contact today, so a good sign there. But again, he was limited as well. So you've got to see him get out of that yellow non-contact to see that he's gotten to the next stage of the concussion protocol. Once that happens, I think he's back in the lineup. So tomorrow's a big day for him. But then you look at the other guys that were limited. You've got, Evan Brown, limited. Hayden Connor, who was designated today, back to the practice field. That's good. Limited. Will Hernandez, limited. Bam Knight, limited. Walter Nolan III, limited, but still out there. So at least he was out there. B. Joe Ojulari, limited. Darius Robinson, limited. Xavier Weaver was actually full, though. So there's a good sign there. He was limited yesterday. So everybody that was limited was back on the field in some capacity today. So a good sign there. But yeah, you got to hope that Max can get fully cleared, get back in there, because the other guys we just talked about does not seem like they're going to go.
And another point of concern, and even just the upgrades from what we saw yesterday to today. Yesterday also, worth noting, was just a walkthrough. an estimation there on the injury report for the Cardinals. So today we finally got to see the first one. And what's concerning there is all the injuries seem to be to the key rooms for the Arizona Cardinals in terms of, we've discussed what the heck can this team do with an offensive line that's been underperforming all season long. And the names you've just listed off are on the offensive line. So your ability to move and make changes at this point in the season while you're also dealing with injuries becomes even more limited than you first thought in this capacity. And I know that Drew Petzing addressed the media earlier this week, and he said, I don't see these. I don't even know what the right word is, because as a fan, I hear that, and what he had to say basically being like, I'm not concerned. I don't think that there are these major changes for the offensive line versus last season. Statistically, that is not backed up at all. I mean, if you have two eyes and you're watching the Arizona Cardinals football games, you know it's not the same case as what we saw last season. And now you're piling up with injuries. You've already got a backup QB in who's trying to figure it out on his own. And now you're going up against the San Francisco 49ers, who have joked that they've had the longest injury report all season long. And then they meet the Arizona Cardinals and they say, hey, we've actually now seen a team that has a longer injury report than us. And the Niners are already getting guys back this week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. But I mean, here's the one thing is that if Jonah Williams doesn't go, because he was the other guy that did not practice today, Kelvin Beachum slides into right tackle. And I think that's what a lot of us have already been asking for, is put him back at right tackle, see what you got there, give Jonah a break, put him on the bench for a little bit. Same thing goes for a guy like Isaiah Adams. Maybe find him a spot back in that interior. Let him just go. Let's see what's going on there, because, yes, Drew Petzing asked if the offensive line had regressed at all. No, I wouldn't say that. That's what he said. And I think it's clear that that has been the case. And obviously the run game is taking a step back. And I think it all starts with the offensive line. They're not winning the battle in the trenches, and everything is kind of getting impacted by it. But you really have to realize that, yeah, it's not the same. I mean, there's a lot of continuity up there with the starters, but the production on the field is not there. I mean, really, outside of Paris Johnson Jr., it hasn't looked the same. So a lot's got to happen. And then you look on the 49ers side, Brock Purdy's getting back in this week. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And obviously Niners are injured too. And the Niners are another team coming off of a bad loss. Both of these teams are going to be ready to rid that bad taste out of the mouth. But I think the Niners, it's just, they're getting healthier at the right time right now.
Yes, and Kyle Shanahan confirmed today that Brock Purdy will be the starter for the 49ers heading into Sunday's game. So it's sort of a mixed bag there. You know, Brock Purdy hasn't played in a really long time. Kyle Shanahan said he wouldn't name him the starter unless he was 100% healthy and ready to go. He also shut down any quarterback controversy. Unlike the Arizona Cardinals, he came out and said that Mac Jones will not be the starter when Brock Purdy's ready to go, and that as they start to look into next season, their guy is Brock Purdy, which is nice. It feels responsible as a fan. And as, you know, watching this team move through things, you saw how successful Mac Jones was for this team. Did you expect them to maybe stick with him? No, but I was surprised at the level of clarity that Kyle Shanahan brought to that matter today. And we've also made it over halfway through the season, and Christian McCaffrey's not hurt. So that's a blessing for Niners fans there.
And can you like knock on some wood? Because I have him in a fantasy football league. That's rough.
Yes, luckily where I'm sitting, I've got a wooden desk right in front of me. So there you go. Also, local guy, Ricky Pearsall, is returning to the lineup for the 49ers this week. So just as the Cardinals, it feels like, are starting to lose weapons and lose guys in really dynamic positions for them. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. already out this week with appendicitis.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yes.
We got to talk about that.
Let's just dive right into that.
All right. Well, yeah, that's the big surprise outside of, or before Josh Sweat didn't show up at practice today, which we know is a rest day now. Marvin Harrison Jr. also out this week after having surgery for appendectomy. What is the I understand a lot of people talking about why is Arizona sports cursed? And this is one of those moments where it's like, Seriously? Seriously. Coming off the worst loss of the season, your number one wide receiver has to go get surgery to get his appendix taken out? Like, what?
It almost feels fitting. Like, how else can we compile sort of a devastating season for the Cardinals? Oh, your wide receiver number one can have his appendix removed in the middle of
Oh,
a
hey, but hey,
season?
your wide receiver 3, he's got a torn Achilles too. He's going to be out for the year.
Yes.
Zay
Yes.
Jones, out for the year. He ain't coming back. You could see the pop. It's just tough for him. But yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. not playing this week. I bet you he comes back next week. I think I'm talking to some medical professionals. Example, my wife. She says it should just be like a week. So I'm hoping that's the case. We'll see.
I went back when this came out and looked at how long the average NFL player is out after they have their appendix removed. And on average, it's 2 to 3 weeks that
Yeah, I
they
did see
miss.
that too.
So we'll see what happens with him. I wouldn't be surprised if he misses next week because of it, but I don't
Yeah.
see him missing 3 weeks worth of games.
No, 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 no. But in his place is a very, very thin wide receivers room because we just said Zay Jones is out for the year. So that leaves Michael Wilson as your new number one for right now and potentially longer. Greg Dortch right behind him, Xavier Weaver, and then they signed Andre Bocelli off the practice squad. He has been, I think he's had so many transactions with this team of just practice squad and signing and releasing and signing and practice squatting and all these everything. Like the guy has got a CVS receipt of transactions with this team. But those are your 4 guys on the active roster right now. You probably going to bring up another guy from the practice squad, but and we didn't even say it, Simi Fehoko. He's out. He's on the IR with a wrist/arm injury. I think he said he broke his arm on the ensuing kick return after he sprained his ankle, which he posted about it and got millions of views, and people were calling him out for his feet. So I thought that was hilarious, his toes. So it's blown up. Go check it out. He's definitely surprised.
It's very purple, and his toes are also not looking great in that photo.
No.
But I enjoyed him calling everybody out, like, you sickos, I think he
Yeah.
said, looking at my feet, commenting on this. So that's amusing. But I mean, this looks towards Trey McBride was always going to be your number one guy, your number one target. He has 5 of his 6 touchdowns on the season with Jacoby Brissett as the starting quarterback. So there's no surprise there. It's now that you're down Marvin Harrison Jr. and now that you're down Zay Jones, you really want to see Michael Wilson step up and fulfill that wide receiver 2 role that we've talked about, that now it is absolutely his to grab and take and run with, and see what kind of dynamics he's able to bring to this offense, because it's going to be a bigger guy out there on the field versus the 49ers defense. And so can Jacoby Brissett get him the ball in ways that we've seen him try to sort of weave Marvin Harrison Jr. into this offense as the season has gone on? Can that sort of pivot in those kinds of pass attempts go to Michael Wilson now?
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of Trey McBride, like he is going to get a lot of attention from the Niners defense. Like obviously he's the bread and butter. He's the one bright spot coming out of that loss, and he's the one bright spot that's a consistent presence right now with this team, especially with Jacoby under center. But another guy, we talk about Michael Wilson and the wide receivers, look for Elijah Higgins to get more too. I really think he could be in line to get more targets, could be more of that bigger bodied wide receiver. That's what he came to the league as a wideout, turned into a tight end. So he has the ability to maybe go outside a little bit more and maybe help fill that gap that Marvin's leaving behind. But it's going to be really interesting to see how they game plan, how they move forward without Marvin. And I mean, really, it's how many targets does Trey McBride end up getting? 15?
Yeah, and I mean, how many check down opportunities can you give Jacoby Brissett then if something isn't materializing down the field? It'll be, does Amari DeMarcado lead the team in receptions maybe just because they're trying to check it down to him in short yardage and see if they can get the first down that way? It will be one of those games where hopefully the Arizona Cardinals offense is able to adjust to not only the absence of Marvin Harrison Jr., but sort of a change of offensive game plan. I think up against this 49ers defense, who's also missing some key guys who'll be out for the year for them. And they've been missing them for a few weeks now. And we've tried to see that 49ers defense, especially against the Rams last week where they got blown out, adapt to these really dynamic offenses, and they haven't really been able to get over the hump and really shut down the guys following wide receiver one for them. So you look for them to maybe double team Trey McBride constantly down there in the backfield, which then now you start to trickle down that availability report for the Arizona Cardinals and go, can Mardi Mercado emerge as that pass catching back? Can he start to be a little bit more like James Conner before he went down? Can we see Michael Wilson start to get his own? Do we see Jacoby Brissett, break out on his own? Are there run plays designed specifically for him to break out of the pocket? Because you got to bring something new to this offense.
Yeah, and I am really interested to see how the Niners defend Trey without Fred Warner. Because Fred, I mean, he's one of those guys that can really line up with, I won't say everybody, but a lot of good premium pass catchers. And he ain't on the team right now. He's hurt. He's on the sideline. So there is an avenue where Trey can feast. But yeah, they gotta get it together. Divisional game. They cannot go out there and lay another egg. They cannot get beat like they did against Seattle, because Seattle might be one of the best teams in the league, but divisional game, you gotta come out better than that, especially at home. Back here, gotta get it done.
And looking at the other side of the ball, I mean, we just talked about that with the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, the 49ers are sort of having their own set of dynamic offensive issues in the sense that they didn't have many guys available to them up until this point in the season. I mean, they're blessed that Christian McCaffrey stayed as healthy as he has this season. But now you see Brock Purdy return. You see Ricky Pearsall return. You start to add some guys into that backfield, and adding those guys in directly at the time that the Arizona Cardinals are losing these guys. I mean, we've talked about the defense saving the Cardinals in a few of these games, and this feels like it's going to have to be another one of those games where the defense overperforms just to keep them in offensively.
Yeah, and they'll have to do it without a couple of key players, most likely, because Will Johnson's gonna have to log like a full day, at least be limited to have a shot. Same with Rabbit. It's gonna be tough. And you already know you don't have Mac Wilson. I mean, it's Cody Simon once again, and Buda Baker, I talked to him today. He loved what he saw out of Cody Simon, wants him to hit the gap a little bit harder when he sees him. So that's one thing to improve upon. But overall, getting the defense in, they like what he's doing. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And I mean, it might be the longest we've gone without talking about Kyler Murray in quite some time.
So should we change that? Should we talk about Kyler Murray now?
I mean, we can quickly get into it because there's a new story on ArizonaSports.com talking about potential landing spots if they do decide to part ways, and there actually is a little bit more than I thought there was going to be going through them. And actually, a couple that I did not include that I think a couple people would, in the Saints and the Browns. So I don't want to go fully into it, but definitely go check that out. And what's one team that stands out to you? Just give me one team. Don't go into it too much, though.
Okay, the team that surprised me on that list the most was the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh yeah, well that one's an interesting kind of journey to go through.
It's interesting for both teams because JJ McCarthy, again, for the Minnesota Vikings, is up on the injury report for them. It looks like he's going to play Sunday, but he finds himself back on that injury report. Carson Wentz playing through injury. Most of his backup period with the Vikings got hurt in London and then proceeded to play more weeks for them until JJ McCarthy could return, who had missed a huge chunk of time there at the beginning of the season. And now that he's back, the Minnesota Vikings offense isn't really functioning as people imagined they would, especially Justin Jefferson, I believe, has his least amount of yards in any of his seasons up until this point. Ooh. So that's a point of concern, especially when you're the Vikings and you spend such an early pick going out there to get JJ McCarthy. Now, I'm not one to write off QBs early. You still got to see what he's able to do when he's healthy. But the fact the Vikings are popping up on a list like that as a destination for Kyler Murray, they do play indoors. So weather is not a huge issue for him. I mean, he's going to have to go up against NFC North teams that do play outside then if he ends up there. But it's an interesting name. I don't think he'll end up there, but it is an interesting name to keep an eye on.
The one of the more unlikely ones on there, but I just think you see what the Vikings did with Sam Darnold last year. the reclamation project that they definitely took to the next level. He's in Seattle now doing his thing there. Can they do this? Can Kevin O'Connell do the same thing again? Quarterback whisperer type stuff. And there's a couple other teams in there that could be like that, but very interesting to even think about potential. I mean, JJ McCarthy, I don't think he's going to go anywhere, but you add Kyler Murray to the equation, you at least have a competent backup.
Yeah, and also, how are these teams acquiring Kyler Murray? What do you
Yeah,
have to offer? What are you putting out there? Have the Cardinals, will they cut him by the end of the season? So then there's a lot of question marks on how is he actually ending up in a New Orleans, a Vegas, a Cleveland? What's happening? Because I think you can always divide the league into thirds. 1/3 who's happy with their quarterback situation isn't moving off of him. 1/3 who's okay with their situation and the grass might not always be greener on the other side. And 1/3 who is kind of constantly unhappy with their quarterback situation. And you're always trying to figure out how to get out of that bottom third. And I think that's the issue that's kind of plagued Arizona Cardinals fans with Kyler Murray for the past few years is the grass greener on the other side? We don't know. It feels like this year is the year that now we all know, yeah, I think it probably is greener without him. And now it's just figuring out, does the team want to take a flyer on him? Because he's not a bad QB. And if you're unhappy with your own QB situation, if you're somebody like the New York Jets and you have no idea what you're doing next season, I mean, I don't think he ends up there either. I don't think that's a good fit for him, and that system doesn't work. But you know
they're at the top of the list there. They're one of the teams to watch for sure.
It's a team that's in desperate need of a QB.
Here's the thing with the Browns. I'll tell you why I did not put the Browns on there. They are already in quarterback purgatory. They're to the point now where they're paying Deshaun Watson to stay away from the team, basically. They've got two rookies who are battling out, and one of them, Shedeur Sanders, who's got his dad in his back pocket, and very much he wants to be the starter, and everybody knows it. I just think you add another quarterback to that mix, it's going to get a lot more messier, especially a veteran. I don't know. That one just seems like a non-starter for me.
I've got to agree. I saw somebody, I believe, on NFL.com who had published a piece about possible trade options made in the off season involving quarterbacks. Somebody said that that Kyler gets traded there and Shedeur heads back to Arizona as a trade.
No way. There'd be no way.
If you want to talk about egos and ego issues,
and distractions, no way. They would not do that. No way. They would never do that. I guess never say never, but I don't think they would ever do that.
No, I think it's too many voices that aren't the quarterbacks. And especially we know the way that Jonathan Gannon likes to run his offense, and we know the way that he likes his locker room to be set up, and sure does not seem like the answer to that at all.
No, absolutely not. All right. Well, that I think about wraps the preview pod. Do you want to give a score prediction? Let's see what we got.
I don't even know where to begin with this one because it's hard because we don't even know who's going to be healthy, and we're doing this podcast on a Thursday, which is not a great sign for the rest of the week there. I guess I'll give you like a 27-14.
Wow. Who, Niners or Cardinals?
Niners.
Oh, okay. Give me 26-23.
Do you think it's going to be a close one?
I think we'll have a close one. I think we'll have some injuries on both sides are going to expose some things, in my opinion.
I would feel more confident about this game actually if Kyler Murray was at the helm, because Kyler's performed really well against the 49ers in history. He likes playing them. We haven't even talked about it's Brock Purdy's game off of the injured list, and he's back home. So there will be a lot of guys cheering on for him there.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? I think I'm going to, after we saw just an absolute different team come out against Seahawks, I'm going to give it to the Niners. Or not the Niners, the Cardinals. Let's go with that.
I hope that we're sitting in the podcast studio on Sunday talking about how your score prediction and your winner was absolutely correct. Yeah, you were flawless. I want to be patting you on the back to open the pod. All
right. Well, there you have it. We're going to get out of there after that. Please follow the show, AZ Cards Corner. Follow Lauren at Colville_Lauren. Follow me at T Drake for Sports. And yes, we will be back in the studio after the Cardinals take on the 49ers in State Farm Stadium. So as always, catch everything on the Arizona Sports app, 98.7 and go watch everybody on YouTube. Go watch Wolfley. He loves when everybody tunes in. Go watch Gamble. He loves the flex for you. Do all that good stuff, and we'll catch you on Sunday night. See you later.